Hey everybody, welcome back. So while I'm waiting for my replacement SKR board to arrive, I want to solve a problem which popped up here a week or two ago, and that is my 3D printed filament shelf brackets broke. There was a big old crash in the in the evening, and I ran in, and all the filament that was along that lower row was all on the floor. Fortunately, nothing was damaged or no one was injured, but it's a problem I have to deal with. Now, they've lasted several years, so I guess I could print more if I wanted, but you know what? I think it's time to go with something metal. So, I designed and made these, oh my gosh, two to 3 years ago from an idea I got from 3D Printing Nerd, and I actually did buy his bracket for like $1.50, the design of it, but then wound up making my own because his didn't work with the boards I wanted to use. So I got on Amazon and I got some of these. This is a thin, cheap, bent sheet metal shelf bracket. They're supposed to hold 33 pounds each, which is probably far more than the plastic ones would. And I'm going to go with 3 instead of 5. But I got a problem of how I'm going to hold the boards on it. As you can see from my old ones, can you see this one down here? I printed little legs sticking up to hold the boards in place. And there's nothing like that on this. Now my first thought was to simply screw through the bottom into the board, but I'm not sure one screw would solve the pressure of the filament puts on it. You can see on the end here how much is pushed out at the top. So, and I'm going to go with 3 instead of 5 because I think 3 metal ones will do fine, and these are triangulated, so they should not break easily. So 66 pounds a pair, 33 pounds each, 99 pounds for 3 of them. I think that will be sufficient, but I'm going to have to print something to screw to the top to hold the board upright. And I think what I want to print, I think it needs to look like a bookend. I think it needs to have a little bit of triangulation so it doesn't get bent that way. Now you're saying, but Chuck, if the 3D printed brackets broke, why are you going to 3D print another part? Because I don't think the bracket itself where it holds the board is what broke. I think it broke right in there, and that gave way. And once that gave way, the whole thing came down. I threw the pieces away, but these parts, these legs going up and down, they were still there on the broken pieces. I know it's gone off of that end, but I think that end is the only one that didn't give up the ghost, and it just got torqued and snapped it down flat. So I'm going to go over to Fusion 360, and I'm going to try and design something to go on the top of this to hold my boards on. That's my plan.
Okay, so here's the part I designed. It was really stupidly simple to make. This end down here, this end is going to go up against the wall at the inside, at the back of the bracket. This end out here with the fillet is going to go out at the far end of the bracket that has a kind of a rounded profile on it. The boards are going to sit upright here in these openings, and then this whole thing will sit on top of that bracket. A screw will go through the bracket, through this part, and into the board, which should lock the whole thing together. I'm not going to spend a lot of time telling you how I made this. Of course, I first came to modify and change parameters. I put in the measurements that I thought were going to be correct, and I'm not 100% sure yet, but they're going to be close. So I might actually get a version 1 that works here, but we'll see. I've only got 3 sketches in this. The first sketch is just the length and the width, and I extruded it up. The second sketch is the upright legs and the holes, which I then extruded up there and there. And then the last sketch, whoops, I didn't want to do that. The last sketch is just making those braces to keep these uprights from bending back under, either way for that matter, under the stress of the filament sitting on it. And then all I did was extrude everything out and put a couple fillets on it, and we're done. So I'm going to have to move my Project Geetek A10M out of the way and I'll bring, will this fit on the Ender 3? I'll have to think about whether it'll fit on the Ender 3 or I think I might. Yeah, it might fit on the Ender 3 kitty cornered. We'll find out. And I might have to bring the Alpha YZ20 over. I'll get one printed and we'll try it.
Okay, so my parts are printed as you can see, and I believe I have a functional version 1 product. I had to drill holes in these brackets where I wanted them to be. There are my rectangular boards, so what's going to happen is I'm going to put a screw up through the bottom of there, through the plastic part I printed and into the board. And that's just to keep the plastic parts from sliding off the side when I get it all together, or as it gets wiggled around. And I also had to make one extra hole in the bottom of the bracket because I would like to use the existing holes in the walls, because one of my pet peeves is having to punch constantly new holes in the walls. So now I can use 2 of the 3 holes that were originally there. I have plugged up and patched all the holes I'm not going to use. So let's get one of these up, and then if everything works, I'll do the top shelf too. Okay, so there is the lower shelf done, and I have to say that that seems really solid. I mean, that isn't moving at all, so that makes me very happy. Now, I'm sure some of you are going to ask me why I even needed this printed piece at all. Why didn't I, since I was going to run a screw in anyway, why didn't I just leave it out and use the screw? And the answer for that, I think, is when you set the filament spool on it, it contacts at the upper inside edge of both boards, and that pushes the boards away and pushes them that way. And I just didn't feel like a single screw up through the bottom would be enough support for that board. But I do believe it is very solid. So 3 instead of 5, and it seems to be holding really, really well so far. That is more rolls of filament than I usually have on a single shelf, and I think 3 is going to be more than enough. I suspect I'll get a little sag in there, but I can always flip the boards over at some point if I need to. Now, one more thing, and then I'm going to do the upper one, and I have 3 more printing at the moment. Can only do 1 at a time on the Ender 3. Might be able to get 2 on it, but I've been doing them 1 at a time. If you don't have one of these, where did it go? What did I do with it? If you don't have one of these for the end of your impact gun or your drill driver, you need one, because it let me get into places like in here. It let me get in there and up under here without a problem, and they work brilliantly. They are worth their weight in gold. I spent the money and I got the DeWalt one that has the flex shaft and the extra extension on it with the little handle, and they are fabulous. I wish I had had that when I was much younger and I first started working on houses and things like that. But anyway, I'm going to get the upper shelf up, and I'll show that to you when I get done, and then we'll be done. Okay, there we go. It is all up and ready to be loaded back up with filament. So that's what I'm going to do next, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there it all is. My little Saturday project is complete, and I organized this in such a way that the filament that I use the most often is low and all the way to the left, and the filament I use the least kind of goes over toward the right and eventually goes up high, like all the way up at the far back at the top one in the right is the Gizmo Dorks polycarbonate that I could never get a decent print out of. I may never use that again, I don't know. But anyway, that's it for now. It is Saturday, May 1st. Hopefully by Monday or Tuesday I'll have the new SKR 1.4 board, and I'll go back to hacking and thrashing on the Geeetech A10M. Hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I will talk to you later, and I will put the links to everything below, including that $12 set of brackets that comes with screws and drywall anchors and the parts I made. I'll put up the Thingiverse and put a link to them. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.